They did not speak, but traced the shape of rain, and watched the shadow fall across the plain. No word was formed, but something turned inside. The hand aligned where stars and stone collide. Not gods they called, but patterns they could feel. A turning sky that bent the ground to wheel. The circle set, the silence pulled apart, and time began to carve the breath from heart. They drew the line where sun returned again, and built not monument but moving plan. The year took shape before the voice took root. The stone was seed, and light became the fruit. No law they left, yet still the circle turned. The path was memory the future earned. In watching change they came to know the flow, and what would come was what had come to go. They painted rites where shelter cut the glare, and form emerged from pigment, rock and prayer. The act became the image it had cast, and what was done was mirrored by the past. A frame, a scene, a figure bent in praise. The body told the mind what paths to raise, and when they knelt beneath the colored beam, they walked into the threshold of a dream. The shapes grew strange, the bodies lost their skin, and symbols slipped the edge of what had been. They saw the thing that was and was not there, a vision drawn from more than eye or air. What once had shown now hinted through the veil. The line dissolved, the solid grew as tale. In scattering signs across the stone's white face, they made the world a field no mind could trace. They fit the beam to join the falling span, a notch, a socket, mind became the plan. No longer just to live, but now to make, and making bent the earth for making's sake. The part implied the whole, the tool its end, a form of thought that asked the hand to bend. They shaped not shelters now, but nested thought, a join that taught what structure never sought. They raised the ridge without a tower's name, its scale alone declared its unseen claim, a line that none could cross without a cost, not built for fear, but boundary once lost, and in its turn the land itself obeyed, not by command, but by the furrow laid. The size was law, the depth a silent code, a measure not of rule but mind bestowed. They gave the form of memory to stone, and cast the face where kinship could be known. What once was breath, now held in metal's gleam. The past reformed into a sculpted dream. The gaze looked out but carried history in. A line of body turned to speak of kin, and space around that figure's quiet reign became the stage where self could yet remain. The signs were placed where roads and arches crossed, each mark a rule, no gesture left to loss. The ground inscribed itself with acts of thought, a plan that told the law which time had brought. No longer word alone, but street and stone combined to teach what no man stood to own. The wall, the drain, the gate became the text, and meaning lived in what the hands had fixed. They raised the dead where height was earned, not given. A step was law, the burial was driven. Not all could rest upon the upper tier. The space itself made hierarchy clear. Gold crowned the hill, but not by chance or theft. The world beneath was marked by rank and heft. The plan itself declared what one could hold. The distance spoke in silence, stone and gold. They walled the air and shaped the empty turn, a circle built for something not to burn. The form declared what word could not defend. That rule resides where boundaries never bend. Each step, each turn, each narrow breath of path was not design, but what remains from wrath. To walk that curve was not to seek a door, but to enact the law that shaped the floor. They carved the mountain not to make it known, but to reveal what had already grown. A line, an axis drawn through rock and light, where form and thought were indistinct from right. The shrine was not a house, but was the hand, a memory etched into the shape of land. No altar stood, but every wall was will. The logic made in stone is living still.